Good morning. Welcome to Flat Earth Early Bird number 1559. I'm your host Arwin. And before we start the show, please don't forget to share it on any platform you deem fit. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. But today I'm starting at 2 p.m. at a Monday. Very late, sorry about that. And please also do support me through the PayPal, Patreon, and yeah, that's it. Much appreciated. Right, weather is again beautiful today. It's it's exactly the same as yesterday. Maybe a little warmer even, a little less cold. Yesterday it was kind of cold though. Even though with the sun it was very pleasant, but again, you'd have to be behind a window. Now, overall, it seems warmer. I'll check the temperature. Right, but it is extremely beautiful and like pristine blue skies, like really pristine. Like even at my visible horizon, it's like nothing. It's all blue. Slightly lighter blue shade at the horizon, and that's it. It's all completely uniform in that sense. Beautiful. Very beautiful sunny day. Right. Hello, logical observations. First in chat, good to see you. Welcome to my backup channel. Right, yeah, I am starting an hour late because I overslept enormously. And I don't know, man, it was weird. But I just did not feel great, and then I realized I forgot to take a shower. I really actually wanted to do that yesterday night, but I got so distracted that I completely forgot. And I really needed that, so I basically just now took a shower, and that's why I'm late. More than 15 minutes or something. But I really needed that. I think that during this spring transition situation with nature, yeah, the seasonal transition, more processes are starting up, right? I've even said that happens, and I basically get more junk that is being cleared out. So I probably need to take showers a little bit more regularly than I do pretty much the rest of the year. Because, well, if I don't, then I start to feel sick. Because it feels like I'm just oh yeah, like I'm trying to climb out of a tar pit, roughly. Well, it's not that bad, but I mean, it kind of feels like you're just eek. But I'm great now. Anyway, hello, Dr. Utker. Territ 306. It is Monday, the 3rd of April 2023. It's 11 degrees Celsius, so yeah, it is a little bit warmer. Not that much warmer, but it feels much better. Has been freezing at night though. And that has been a little bit annoying. Don't particularly like that it's freezing again and all that. But yeah, I mean, the beautiful weather is very welcome. Right. So, what is going on? Oh yeah, almost forgot about that. That's weird. Well, lumpy gas in a vacuum. Found some video This is this is like literally from 2 days ago with a guy who apparently figured out a perpetual motion machine. Not that you could extract energy from it or something, but it does keep moving forever, allegedly. That was pretty cool. Like Nathan even, he shared it with a lot of people apparently, and Nathan then shared it in Skype. That was pretty cool. Check that out. Of course, it's full of gamma comments. Oh, the hardest thing about perpetual motion machine is hiding the battery. Yeah, but I mean, screw that. There is some sense to this. It's like a machine that's running on a continual shift of local air pressure differential. It's fascinating in that way. Because, yeah, it just works on continual pressure. It's like a closed circuit of pressure that goes basically back and forth. Very fascinating, right? And there's no electricity or anything involved. And even through the demonstration, you can see that. I mean, there's like a wheel going on, but I mean, it's obviously not being like driven by like a mechanical force other than the gas. Anyway, that was interesting. Right, so yeah, what have you guys been up to? Remember, we only have an hour show today, unless Nathan for some reason doesn't go live, but I don't see why he wouldn't. Right, what else was going on yesterday? Yeah, not a lot of streams. Owen Benjamin on unauthorized.tv had a fireside outside stream with a fire. That was cool, but I mean, I only noticed that this morning. Yeah, I did actually check that before the show. But yeah, there's not a lot really happening out there. Too much. Wait, let me check my Arwin account. My main account. I have to switch to actually check the browser history. Or the history of notifications, basically. Yeah, Flatsoid at a show. That was cool enough. I did end up just blocking these guys, though. Because I was trying to have a conversation with somebody, and they were just like almost spamming like negative shit about me, like spamming it. It was crazy, man. I don't understand like why Flatsoid just lets that all happen. I really don't get it. But yeah, I just ended up blocking them and having a great conversation with Glenn Solch about what is it again? About why gas doesn't have mass. So yeah, but it was a bit of a nuisance. No, I'm having a show, Dr. Utker. Why the hell are you asking that? That video was posted Saturday? Yeah. Apparently. Right. So yeah, oh yeah, you're right. It might have been an April Fool's joke, but I mean, it looked pretty solid. It's just not, you're not gonna get something out of it though. Why wouldn't gases have mass? Because you can't weigh them. They only have atomic mass. You can't actually have, extract mechanical weight from whatever you're gonna get out of it, right? I mean, I've been talking like an hour, mostly repeating myself in the chat yesterday. I don't really care to go all into it again, because I've already had several shows on the Early Bird Show, like several hands full of talking about it, and I just get people that just basically refuse to accept it and whatever. I don't care. It's not my problem if you don't get it, right? There's a split in the understanding even of what mass is. And atomic mass, which is like ratio based on one substance in relation to another. It's like that's the method for that. And then it's basically sized up like what the atomic mass is. But it's when you're actually going to deal with the different states of matter, then, well, gases, it just doesn't work the same. Because you can't weigh gases, because weighing in general, the action of weighing, the convention-based system, where there's like, where you translate pressure into a numerical value, it can't weigh gas because it's set to weighing something in air at ground level, regular pressure, right? That's the anchoring point for the whole thing. Well, if you have gas that is equal or less in density than the typical air that surrounds you, you're not gonna register anything. Or if it's like slightly more, like, oh, I'm gonna weigh hexafluoride over sulfur hexafluoride, right? Because it's heavier, it's denser. Well, yeah, you might have some, it's a little bit more than the container. It's like, yeah, but it's not proportional though to the atomic mass that it allegedly has. So yeah, you might have a lot of gas contained, and then it might exert slightly more pressure, right? But it's not proportional to anything. So yeah, it might still exert some downward pressure, some disequilibrium pressure, but it's not like in that reliable linear value system of weighing. Okay? So it effectively doesn't have weight. It has some relative density disequilibrium pressure, but it doesn't have the stable linear weight system. If it weighs something, it's not proportional to what the material should be weighing in a non-gaseous state. Right? Pretty sure also that like the atomic mass is based on material in non-gaseous state. Because you can't weigh gas. It doesn't have mass in that sense, in the factor, the isolated part of density in which you can't really isolate, but you can conceptually isolate and then use it for the numerical measuring system of weighing. It's all super convoluted. I'm not about equations, so if that's what you want, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna give you equations. I mean, there's probably people hanging around me that do know that. I don't give a shit. I'll just describe it. That's how I do it. That's how I always do it. And I'll never stop doing it to advance to math. Fuck your math. I don't do math. I do description, yeah? Math is a frickin' description, using stupid numbers and all that. I describe it using words. I find it to be much more effective and comprehensible to people. Unless they're math heads and then they just can't get it anymore. Because if it's not math, it's not worthy. Math is not stupid. I disagree. I think it is stupid. Because math is very, very easy to lead you into the conceptual without telling you anything about that. So math leads to sci-fi land very easily without telling you. Yeah? I don't think math is intelligent. I think math is naturally delusional. I think people that really get into math, they get delusional. Because math and thinking like math, it doesn't reveal to you what is real and what is conceptual. That's the problem. And math believers think it does, and it doesn't. It's wrong. It doesn't do that. We are made of math. Yeah, I know, classical math. It's ridiculous. Do I use math? No. No, I don't. I do rough sizing up. I don't do math. Yeah? I turn the numbers into a landscape almost. Like, this is what I do. Like, I don't do stupid calculation shit. I look at the number and I feel it out. I like squish the numbers together, feel out what it's gonna become. And I'm getting really good at it. Well, I've been good at it for a while. I don't do calculus like that. I find that process tedious. What do you think? There is no space. Space is a second law of thermodynamics violation. It's a natural law violating concept that can't ever exist in reality. Arguably, not even God could create that, because it literally violates natural law. And natural law is basically the setting for existence to work the way it does. If you would change natural law, then probably life couldn't exist anymore. That's probably the existential consequence. So in that sense, no, God cannot create a vacuum of outer space versus gas pressure on a ball. Like, he can't do that, because if you change the setting, then life wouldn't be able to exist. Because if you change natural law, you change like the hyperdynamics of all things, of like how material works. You can't he can't do that. He can't design it that way and still have everything be the way it is with its magnificent design. It's that simple. No, God cannot do whatever he wants. You don't understand anything about creation. Shit we make up, some of it God cannot make, because it can't exist physically. It cannot be designed that way. If you alter the laws of how the very foundations of matter and all that work, then life, the procedures of all the micro procedures in crystalline fractal fashion, it's not gonna work the same. So you can't have all of creation anymore then. No, God can't just do anything. pre-existing void. It would... that makes no sense. Like, how would it pre-exist? No. In the beginning, there was not a vacuum. And then God came to fill it with stuff. That's not how it works. God arrived in a material plane. In a dimension of water. Or where everything is water. Basically. And then he split the waters. And then he started to transform water into... yeah, other materials. Into minerals and everything. Right? There is no beginning vacuum. There is no vacuum in nature. Nature abhors a vacuum. There's no beginning with a vacuum. Vacuums can only be created. Mostly by devices that we would make. And some life can also, internally and all that, create vacuum. I mean, suction cups from octopi basically are vacuum technology. But that's super micro scale. And hey, even in the biological level, there is basically probably micro vacuum things. Just to keep, because it does keep moving, right? Lower pressure versus high pressure, etc. But there is no complete devoid space, naturally. And it would never has been, because nature abhors a vacuum. What the hell are you talking about? Who are these people? Where's the rest? It's good to have you here, classical homeopath and LVA Paul, but God cannot make mistakes. Well, look, LVA Paul, the thing is, it's already made. Like, God, I don't believe God is like still working in his virtual, inside his uber mind of the highest dimension. He's not still designing Earth, okay? It's already been done. At the start of creation, it was everything that would ever be within this system was already designed. He doesn't change anything. That's all human mythology. Yeah? Or it is more about the collective wisdom of man, which sometimes is associated with deification, which is weird. In a way, the Holy Spirit is almost something like that. Because I really do believe it's like more like a human thing. Like the designer God, he doesn't do that. He designed it all. And there's all kinds of like angels, you could say, that we interact with. God doesn't. It's not logical even for him to. Read the comments in that video. Yeah, I realized that it might have been an April Fool's video, but I mean, it looks pretty decent. I left a comment in there. I asked like, hey, once you stop it, could you spin the wheel back up? Would it then keep going again? I mean, it's still pressurized and all that. Can you explain the pressure gradient in the air? Yeah. In a closed container, you can have a gradient. especially if there's, well, other influences. Like, for example, you take one side of an aquarium, a sealed aquarium of gas, some measuring equipment in there, whatever. One side you apply heat, and on the other side you apply cold. A gradient is going to form measurably. It happens, yeah? But it only happens because it is a closed container and the gas has nowhere else to go. It will settle and then radiate. A gradient is secondary to the gas actually filling the available volume, which happens very quickly in this beginning. If gas is to be unleashed upon like a big volume that isn't pressurized. Gas tank on a heated floor. Yeah, for example. Perpetual motion machines violate natural law. No, I don't think so. I've seen it with water. It's like, I don't care what you say about it. Like, not violate natural. Yeah, but I've literally seen it with my own eyes, though. Yeah, you're welcome, Dr. Utger. Let's see. Oh shit. I forgot to... Ha! I was moderating and it still worked. It's weird, even though I'm actually logged in with another account. That's odd. Anyway, let's switch. I noticed because I couldn't edit the video. Right. Where is it? Never mind. Right, yeah, so I hope that explains it, at least. So yeah, gradients happen. But they only happen because the gas can form that gradient after having filled the available volume of the container. It's never, a gradient's never going to form if, or not persist anyway. Right? Because even like in an open container with gas like sulfur hexafluoride, yeah, at first it just sits there, but eventually it just dissipates more and more and then it's gone and it's no gradient. Because gas doesn't stay separated. It mixes up, becomes inhomogeneous. Right? So gas doesn't separate in layers like that. And despite it mixing up, a gradient can still form because of temperature influences. Now there's a distinct temperature influence continually at ground level, right? Warmth from the earth and the sun heating it up, combination of all of that. And up there, it's probably very cold. Now, why it is cold, yeah, that's debatable. I personally think there might be just a cold influence, like just a cooling element up there. Because that would very much explain just the overall gradient. Because if there wasn't a cooling element up there, then the gradient would be less pronounced. There would be a little bit more gradient at ground level, because there's obviously heat happening there. But then it wouldn't gradiate so much beyond that. But it does. So there's probably a really distinct cold influence very high up there. Somehow. What is the gas that occupies the highest level in the layers? Hydrogen and helium. Right? They're the only ones that still are just able to hang around there. The heavier gases don't really go that way. They might even because of the cold, lose some of their gaseous properties and then basically sort of go down, go boom boom, because they're not gas anymore. Or basically hanging in between, cold front, and it's yeah, they want to rise, but then as soon as they get there, it's it gets cold, and so they almost become liquid or solid or not gas anymore, or the almost in between state, and so they then they don't go further because they're not really that normal state gas because of the temperature. See, that can be it. Hey Richard G, good to see you. Can gas take the property of crystal? No. No. Crystalline structuring is exclusively a solid state property, attribute. Liquid doesn't become crystal. Although there is this thing as liquid crystalline, but I mean it's not really crystal, because crystalline means that it's not just gonna move, right? But you might have a sort of in between thing where it might crystallize, and then you could push it, and then it'll it's flexible enough, and then it will crystallize again. But that's a really weird shit, if that even exists. I have no idea. Custard or something. But crystallization is, well, most, as far as I know, exclusively attributed to solids. I've never seen a liquid crystal before, although the LCD it's called liquid crystal diode. Well, yeah, but is that literally a liquid crystal, or is it a liquid that can be solidified and then crystallized, right? The point is that literally a crystal itself is not liquid when it is a crystal. So that be what the dome is? No. Absolutely not. There is no dome, for starters, and yeah, it's definitely not made of material. Whatever separates us, whatever limits the volume that is available to us in the realm, is not going to be made from some matter. It's ridiculous. it just seems extremely unlikely. Right? If you're gonna still think though, like, oh, but we are literally in the plane of water or something, yeah, then, and not just a limited available space, like a conjured volume, which I think it is. It makes more sense with like the looping mechanism. Then, yeah, then maybe, right? I mean, if it's all made from water, inside of water, then yeah, you gotta put something there to separate the water. Logically. So I get that people keep bringing that back up. If there's no dome, oh god. The container is the limited available volume available within our realm, Dr. Utker. Right? So if there simply is no more space available for material to move into, it's going to be like a solid surface for those that are in available volume space, right? It will seem like maybe a mirror or just a perfectly black thing that is absolutely impenetrable. I called it non-space. It's simply the end of available volume, and there is literally nothing there, and nothing can ever be there because it's not available space for material to exist in, right? Non-space. That could also be outside of our known realm, right? And with non-space, you don't have to be afraid like, oh no, it could break and then the gas could escape or water could go in. No, there's simply literally no more available room. It's like being worried that in a computer game there's literally a frame, like a rendering space of like what exists in the game mechanics, and then you're afraid, oh, it's going to go outside of the level. Yeah, but that's not possible because there's literally nothing there. There's no preface for the game engine to exist there. Well, that's how I feel about non-space within our realm. Well, it's not outside of our realm. There's no non-space within the realm. In the realm, there is space. There is available volume for matter to exist in. Outside, not so much. Right? So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is, but when I go by the train of thinking of my model, which includes a loop, it also includes non-space. It is basically a declaration. Like, I think there is no endless available space. It's basically saying, hey guys, there is no space. There's no space outside of the dome either. Like, there literally is a limited amount of volume of existence itself. Yeah? Like existence, material existence, everything is like a closed simulation. Oh, I said it. Yeah, simulatory. Because it is the only existence. It's not just in a computer or something. No, it is real. But it is like a simulation and it is closed. There is nothing else. There is no endless. You see? I don't believe in an endless. In endless things like that. Don't believe in endless time. I don't believe in endless volume. I think there is a limit. Like there is a limit to life. To how long something can live. So is there a limit to the available material and the available volume that exists? That's my belief. There no more pressure, non-space starts? Yeah, because nothing exists in space, in non-space, Dr. Utker. Gas can't enter non-space. Nothing can enter non-space. It's not available volume for material to enter or exist in, ever. It's non-space. What about Noah's flood? Gates of heaven opened? Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure there was a flood, but what caused that could be all kinds of things, Zane Solo. And the gates of heaven do not necessarily imply a literal gate or a barrier. It may simply have been an enormous amount of water vapor that had been accumulating for a long time. Right? That would have like suddenly liquefied, like turn into rain. Like think about rain clouds, right? It's moist first. It's just water vapor. And then eventually like it comes together. Now think of it like the conditions would have probably been in a way that there was enormous amount of water vapor, but they wouldn't form clouds for like a very long time. Would have probably been like a really big drought for a long time everywhere. And then suddenly it's like the drop that made the bucket spill, and suddenly it all starts liquefying and you get a massive amount of rain everywhere, right? That's what I think is more likely how the flood actually happened. It was all there, it just wouldn't rain. And then suddenly it started raining, like the drop that made the bucket spill, and it all came down. I think it might have been something like that. And who knows what they were doing back then, right? I mean, giants feeding off energy pyramids, so there would have been all kinds of stuff, technology, energy things that would have been done in the environment that might have led up to that. That might have had that as a side effect. It's like, yeah, we are using these energy pyramids. Really great. We have flying devices. Giants don't have to eat as much. All that. Very cool. But yeah, there's less rain for some reason. Right? So it just kept building. And like, yeah, it doesn't really rain anymore. We have to pump up water from the ground, etc. to get water because it doesn't rain. And then suddenly, and bang, and everything floods to shit, right? There's no gates opening. What gates? It's like the gates of Druidia. What's the code? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, no, that's not reality, okay? There is no shield that just opens up like a window. This is ridiculous. I would appreciate if others maybe took care of the trolls. Immediately ban them so I don't have to stare them in the face every time I have a talk. Would be great. Yeah, obvious Arwin sock trolls, please just immediately kick them out so I don't have to stare at that. That would be great. This is my kind of conversation. Right. I agree. I'm having a great time here. And this is also typically what I like to do, right? Like, oh, where's my math? Yeah? What I just explained, everything that I basically said in like the last half hour. What about that is math? Nothing. I didn't even describe something that would come close to like a mathematical equation or something, because I don't even need to go there. I just described everything that I just said. It's all very interesting. There's no math involved. You don't need it. Yeah? I can describe these things and it will hit some front. It will hit some lore of mechanics. There's no math required. Although, yeah, you might want to model calculate it, like what I just said, right? About what if the water like refused to liquefy, it wouldn't rain, and then suddenly it all broke loose. Well, then you could have some geologist that has some meteorological data about pressure, etc., and then you could try to emulate like what exactly would be required for water to not liquefy and then build up, and what would trigger it to suddenly all liquefy, right? And then there might be some math required because you're going to model it. You're going to make an emulation or a simulation in your computer, right? Well, that's where the math comes in. But yeah, I'm not doing that. You could do that if you have like, if you're good at that sort of thing in your computer, and you can model things and apply some physics engine or whatever. That's pretty cool. I'd love to know if what I just described could be done, and what it would require, if that is feasible in some way. I mean, if it would require like energy to be around that is so strong that literally life couldn't exist, right? Well, then it's unlikely, right? Because there is life. So that's where your model tinkering comes in, and then you could figure out like, could that actually happen physically? What would be required for it? What would the conditions have to be in the world for that to happen? Now there comes the math. It's not my thing, yeah? I like to simply envision how something can work. That's what I like to do. Turn into ice. Yeah, but ice has weight. Ice is gonna fall down. How's the ice gonna stick to the ceiling? How's it gonna stay there? Right? How's the ice gonna form and stay there? It's just, no. Like clouds hang not against the ceiling. Like, how would it even get there? Right? So there's all these complications. If you're gonna say like, oh, but it was ice that was stuck to the ceiling and then it just shook loose or melted. Like, how? How did it get there then? Yeah, moist is not gonna travel up far enough through the super thin layer. It's too dense. It won't get there. How would it ever get there to form ice to then suddenly melt and drop on everybody's head and become a flood? How the hell would that ever happen? How could it get there? It couldn't. It can't. Right? So my train of thinking leads me to, no, it's not ice up there and suddenly it came down, or a window opens and it came down, but rather like maybe something would have prevented the moist in the air from liquefying. Right? I mean, I was even taught some basic meteorology that the moist in the air like requires some solid dust particle or whatever to even start forming a droplet, or like a snow piece, and that could then let it later, or a piece of hail, piece of ice that could then later fall down and become a droplet as it melts through the warmer air, right? So if it requires some particle, well then maybe the particles were all gone. Maybe they had like a massive, what do you call that? Ionization? Not ionization? Yeah, ionization of the air. Maybe they had a massive ionizer that would just make all the dust go down very quickly. That it would always have been static everywhere, right? Because all the dust would all just be drained down. Maybe that was a side effect of the energy pyramids, of the electricity generators. Maybe the giants fed on it, but also it made all the dust fall down. Holy shit, this whole idea is really coming together all of a sudden. So maybe they ionized the air as a side effect of their technology that caused all the dust to basically not hang in the air anymore, whereby all the moist in the air refused to liquefy. So maybe that is actually how the technology caused the flood. Holy shit. Holy shit, that's a really good idea, actually. Man, I've never put that together before. Huh. Holy shit. I have to put that in the title. Man, this short show certainly gave me one hell of an idea. Huh. How do I describe this in one sentence? Was the flood caused by... Because if I just say ionized air, that's weird. Inability for water vapor to liquefy. Yeah, that actually fits. Awesome. Right. I mean, I think that pretty much summarizes. Oh, thank you, Richard G. But you unhid it again. I don't know why. I'll take care of it. God. These people have absolutely no fucking life. Right, but it doesn't matter because my show is great and I'm not gonna be going rage with me because you can choose. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I've got a great idea here. An expansion, an actual more direct model for what caused the flood that actually halfway makes sense. And that doesn't require me to conjure some object or knowledge of what may be up there, that it would come from there with a gate or stuck to it, right? I mean, this is like, no, it's right there. What could go wrong that it wouldn't liquefy? And then what if it's suddenly liquefied? Like, what if somebody just turned it off? It's like in Ghostbusters, just turn it off. Remember? It's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Turn it off right now or you're fired. Like, okay, and somebody just turned off like the energy pyramids, and suddenly like giants feel like, oh, I'm getting hungry, and suddenly it's like suddenly all the water starts liquefying, just immediately coming down. It might have been that. It's very science fiction-y, but yeah, that could have actually been it. Yeah, maybe somebody turned off the machines and then suddenly the water could liquefy again, and they probably highly it might have been like unable to rain for decades on end. But at the same time, you gotta realize that the water from the oceans would still be evaporating. So it would build up more and more and more and more water vapor. The air would have probably been pretty thick with it, but it wouldn't liquefy. Or probably at ground level it would be a little bit, still touch things and then liquefy there. But overall there would be a massive amount of water vapor in the air that wouldn't liquefy. And the people and the giants back then, the Atlanteans, would have probably highly overestimated or underestimated how much water vapor was actually piled up in the air over the decades. And then when the machine shut down or was turned off, it was literally like an entire ocean just came down. Suddenly all liquefies and you... Seems logical. I can picture it in my mind. Right? Oh wait, liquefy, it's condensate. I gotta call it condensate, of course. That's the proper terminology. To condensate. Yeah. Liquefy, that's from solid to liquid. Look at me. Getting the words wrong. Right. Anyway, I'm probably gonna round out the show soon. Almost a bit sorry about it, because this is a really great idea. But hey, I can bring it back up again tomorrow. So this is probably not the last time that I'm gonna entertain this idea, because this to me is like, yeah, I've actually got a halfway decent solid explanation for how the flood might have happened. Right? That's not just like, oh, they fired the super weapon or something and then, but more like, yeah, the process. What led up to that? How could it have gotten to that point? Well, if water vapor building up in the air is somehow unable to condensate because of some energy that's going around, some massive ionization, for example, something like that, then yeah, it would have built up for a long time. And then if that suddenly changed, like the thing that caused water vapor to not condensate suddenly got completely turned off, then yeah, like buckets suddenly forming midair, and it all falls down. George Sanford, yeah. What? I don't know about that, Zane Solo. Maybe. I mean, maybe you can effectively use your mind to electrically lower your density or something. But I don't know, man. Zane Solo. Not a new topic, by the way, because this is the topic, so you're not going to change the topic. But what you're talking about, I can't exclude that from being a possibility. I've never physically seen it, though. But I mean, I've seen people set things on fire with their mind. Yeah? And I can freaking heal, dude. So I'm like, oh, yeah, there might be somebody that actually knows how to levitate and is real. I'd be very curious to hear from them, like, what they experience as they do that. Like, is it like creating a field? Is it like electrostatic related when you do that? Or is it something else? But I've never seen a person that actually demonstrated doing that. So, unfortunately, I was really looking forward to that. I've been like looking for that in my teens, but I never met anybody. Everybody said it's fake. So, it could be fake. But in my mind, I mean, yeah, why not? I can freaking heal, man. So anyway, I'm rounding out the show. Thanks everyone for coming. I hope you liked this show. If you did, then please don't forget to Rogan's it up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal, Patreon, and that will be much appreciated. And I can always use the support, so please keep it coming. Okay. Condensate. It's not a word. Condense, I take. Yeah, you're right. Condensate is something that has condensed, so it's not correct. Thank you for correcting my spelling there. Last second. Somebody that I don't even know who they are. Right. So I'll be back tomorrow with Flat Earth Early Bird number 1560 on a Tuesday, and I'm going to join the Flat Earth debates over at Nathan Oakley 9080 channel, which should start up any second now. Hope to see you all there in chat, and until the next video, keep it flat.